clawing our way out of our graves to bring you your weekly dose of chaos and darkness. I'm Rexy.
And I'm Lillie. And this is the Morning Report.
Hey, mourners.
Oh, there's my hand. There it is. Hey!
Your arm's just disappearing and reappear. Oh, my hands are too. Okay.
This is going to turn into a drug-fueled...
Yes, immediately, please.
Look at my hand.
It looks like you have a web. Looks like you have a web between your fingers. I just...
Yours just turned into a spider.
Yeah, I mean, that works. Spooky time. It's almost Halloween, and it's weird. I swear I feel like Halloween it was costume. March. Huh?
I said I just ordered the girls' Halloween costumes today.
What'd you get?
The little one, what's her name? Frey, is going to be a light up witch.
Ooh.
And Amelia is going to be Taylor Swift from the 22 music video. She's got like a white t-shirt on that says "I've got a lot going on right now," and she's got a little black hat. And
oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, super cute. She's obsessed now. In fact, I could go see the movie.
That's good. I want to see the movie.
It was really. We left. We had about an. It was about 3.5 hours, and we left with about an hour left because she was getting tired.
Yeah.
But it was so good.
Yeah. I know I have a handful of friends who have gone to the concert, and all of them are just like, it was amazing.
I feel so old. I forget that she's my age, because when I look back, like, I just feel like I was always older than her, but not that much older than her.
Yeah.
No, she's my age.
Is she? Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, she put on a damn good show.
Good. That's cool. I want to see it. I really don't have much to talk about.
I already told you all my big stuff.
Yep. And ours, we went out of state for a family thing that wasn't like super fun. So yeah, there wasn't much going on. So we could get into the news stories.
Yeah, let's just get this puppy rolling.
Yeah, okay. So we are going to start with an article from NBCnews.com. And it was written September 27th of this year by Minyavon Burke. Okay. So 16 years ago, Madeline Michelle Carthen was preparing for summer internship in Ghana after she was accepted into Webster University's intern exchange program when she received shocking news. Her social security number was associated with a deceased person. I laughed, Carthen from St. Louis, Missouri, who was at the time named Madeline Coburn, said in a phone call Tuesday. She added that at the time, she initially dismissed it as a simple mistake. I said, "What do you mean? I'm sitting right here. I've been at school for 1.5 years. How am I dead? Is this going to affect my internship?" The mistake wasn't a simple fix and cost Carthen, now 52, her livelihood. She had to withdraw from school and over the years has been fired from jobs and kicked out of her home, all because on paper it says she died in 2007. I just know I'm alive. I don't care what AI says or software says, but I'm alive. But it's hard to prove that. Carthen's world began to unravel in the summer of 2007. The business technology student...
That?
You know, like there's DNA, right? Like just match the DNA.
Like I have a birth certificate and proof of life.
Here I am.
Fix it.
The business technology student and mother to a 13-year-old had been accepted into Webster's International Business Intern Exchange Program, giving her the opportunity to travel abroad. She had to reapply for summer semester financial aid to help cover expenses. It was during this time that her financial aid advisor learned that Carthen's social security number listed her as deceased. School officials told her to contact the Social Security Administration and said that she would have to withdraw until the situation was fixed. This is bananas. Carthen immediately reached out to the SSA and learned that she had been added to its death master file, a data source compiling internal SSA records of people who died who possessed social security numbers. She said she was told that her name was added in error, and she received what's called a death erroneous letter to give credit bureaus to show that she's still alive. Well, it got worse because it wasn't creditors. Being in the death master file, it went to the IRS, it went to the Department of Homeland Security, it went to E-Verify, all of these things. It just started affecting my life. Carthen said her existence on paper was essentially erased, causing a ripple effect she never imagined. Over the years, she has been let go from jobs because human resource departments cannot process payroll under her social security number. She's had vehicles repossessed and has been kicked out of homes. Carthen, who currently lives with her sister, said she cannot obtain a mortgage. Sometimes I can get a job and then within so many months there's going to be a problem. So it's like I can get it and then it's yanked back from me, but I don't know when it's going to be yanked back. To this day, Carthen still doesn't know how her name got on the list. The SSA said that if people suspect they have been incorrectly declared dead, they need to head to their local Social Security office as soon as possible. The agency provides a list of documentation the person needs to bring, noting only one piece of identification is needed. The spokesperson for the SSA did not immediately respond to a request for comment. How is it this hard if the website's like you only need one piece of information, go to the office?
But she'd been in school before. Why did it not catch it then?
Right? Or unless it was like added to the list while she was in school, so then they were like, oh, you're dead, you have to leave now.
But I'm not dead, I'm right here.
Right! I'm not dead.
I have so many questions. What happens with social security numbers when you die? Do they just recycle them?
I don't think so.
Or do you get to like hold on to it forever?
Yeah, I think it's yours forever.
Aren't we going to end up running out of numbers at some point?
Probably not before the world explodes.
Okay.
Carthen said she has relentlessly tried to have her name removed from the Death Master file. She submitted dozens of documents to the SSA, has contacted 4 U.S. presidents for help over the years, and has reached out to other government officials. She even filed a federal lawsuit in 2019 against the SSA and other government agencies, but it was dismissed because the government has sovereign immunity.
But you fucked up my life on accident.
Yeah, whole life. In 2021, Carthen thought she had made slight progress when the SSA issued her a new social security number. That same year, she legally changed her name from Madeline Coburn in an attempt to distance herself from the fiasco. But the triumph was short-lived. She said her new social security number continues to be flagged because it's still connected to her old one. But here, I am still stuck and nobody can help, she said. I just want answers. NBC affiliate KSDK of St. Louis covered Carthen's case in 2007. The news station this week said that it is working with her to try and get the issue fixed. I don't know how this is going to work out. I just keep advocating and fighting, and when I say fighting, within my spirit. Sometimes I want to give up, but my faith is too strong, she said. I don't care if it takes 20 years. I'm going to do what I got to do to make this situation right. Not just for myself, but for other people.
You know, your faith can be strong all you want to, but if Jesus was going to help, he would have done it by now.
Right. And the government certainly isn't going to help. They're making it worse. So
that should have been a no-brainer. That should have been, hey, we're going to give you a new social security number, but we're going to ask that you change your name.
And we're not going to connect it. Because she did all of that. They gave her a new number, she changed her name, but they have the old number linked to the new number. So the new one gets flagged because it's attached to the old one. So like the new one gets put in, and then the old one pops up, and they're like, "Sorry, this person's dead." Since 2007.
So it's the government. It's the government. They can make this error. They can fucking fix it.
Right.
Just
maybe having a news station involved will help.
Maybe just add a little asterisk on the file and be like, "Hey, we know when this says she's dead. She's not. This was our fuck up.
We'll fix it when she dies. Then we'll mark it dead. But right now, that sucks. That is so fucking long. Like, it's 2023. She's been dealing with this since 2007.
I am so confused. Like, how does that happen?
And so long. I don't know.
I mean, and there's nothing. I'm like, this is what pisses me off. I'm so mad at this America, not just because of this, but because of a lot of things that I won't get into. But like, we put forth this like humanitarian, good people image, and we can't fucking help somebody that we helped fuck up their, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so confused. Right. Like, it just
and it's
takes
like they've acknowledged their fuck up. They've acknowledged it, and it's still not fixed.
Yeah, we did that. I'm sorry. Now you have to deal with it, though.
Yep, sorry. It's gonna take us a really long time to get to your case. What the fuck?
I don't even, like, I'm so confused. That's like that's like the most terrifying thing that I've ever heard.
Right, your entire life. Like, you don't have any independence at all.
Like, that's like my worst fear, is like on paper not existing.
Well, like, if you're trying to do it on purpose, cool, but like, they effectively turned her into a ghost.
She had a baby after her Social Security. How does she have insurance? How does she have anything? How did she have a baby?
Well, luckily, reproductive system doesn't require a Social Security number.
No, I mean, we were like, how?
I have no idea.
Wouldn't that affect her kid too? Like when
I'm sure,
child applied,
probably.
When she applied for the Social Security number for the baby.
Oh, well, maybe not. If the baby's born here, it would be, the baby would have a Social Security number.
Yes, but I don't know. I guess I don't know how anything works anymore.
But when that kid has to apply for anything, put the baby back up there. Leo says no Social Security baby, put the baby back up there.
No, once babies are out, they don't go back. Believe me.
So that's my news story to kick this episode off.
I think I'm just going to be further confused because I have no idea what we're talking about.
I don't either. This is a Leo special.
Which is, we're giving him way too much power.
Daryl both have a lot of power over the show.
So much power. We're just puppets. You know that, right?
Yeah, we are. We just read what they tell us to. How did this happen?
You know what? I know Leo's listening, but one time we're gonna be reading, and it's gonna be like some contract that we're gonna accidentally. It's gonna be a verbal agreement.
Oh
that
my
they
god!
Have on camera.
Right? I have the magic edit button. What contract? I don't remember any contract.
I never signed anything. No, look
it's
at
not
this
in the
right
episode,
here.
right?
Okay. Like, again, I have no idea what we're talking about. This just says spooky for October 23rd. And it says... Leo says, my Apple user agreement is going to be be terrible for everyone. All right, so this is the Pelican Girls of New Orleans.
Okay.
Sure.
I have no idea what this is.
And it's just a quick cursory glance. Do you really don't think, Leo, that I know how to say the word rendezvous? Thanks for putting the phonetic, sound out there, but I do know what that word is. I am educated a little bit. Anyway, all right.
Oh,
so the pelican.
Okay.
What?
Wait, before you tell us about the pelican girl, did you see my ornament?
I did. It was glorious. I need everything. I need you just to send me everything.
A whole box of everything. Okay, tell me about the pelican girls.
So, France came and explored North America in the 1600s, and they became fascinated with the Mississippi River, as one does. It's the Mississippi River. France claimed all of the land the Mississippi River drainage basin, all of the land in the Mississippi River drainage basin. Basically, it claimed all the water that flowed into the Mississippi River and the land surrounding that water. So all of the lands east of the Rocky Mountains and all of the land west of the Appalachians. So first the French settled around Lake Ontario, founding Quebec and Montreal, and later they spread to the east where Nova Scotia now is. These eastern Frenchies were called Acadians. Yeah, I like that. And you didn't put a pronunciation for that, but rendezvous. Yeah. And were killed and kicked out by the British in the mid-1700s. The leftover Acadians made their way down to what is now Louisiana. Over time, Acadian became Cadian, and because of how Cadian is pronounced in French, these people eventually were called Cajun in English.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Okay. So now we're Acadian became Cadian, Cadian became Cajun. So around the start of the 1700s, a French dude from Montreal named Bienville became the governor of this giant piece of land and wanted to start a company in Louisiana. He wanted to exploit the land with cash crops and money trees, and for that he needed bodies. Also, it probably should go without saying, though, like you were like waving around sage.
I am.
Do I know you too well, or do I know you too well?
Sorry, my ADHD won't let me just do nothing and sit here and listen. Like, I have to do something else or I'm gonna wander away and not realize that I did it.
Ooh, a roly-poly.
Yes!
I wasn't even looking at you. I just, out of the corner of my eye, I saw smoke and I saw your arms going and I was like, is she sweeping her room?
I am. It hasn't been saged in a while.
Okay. Alright. Also, it should probably go without saying, but since no person from Europe or any other continent discovered North America, the Chitimacha people of Louisiana were already there, weren't exactly cool with what Bienville wanted to do. But as the takeover of land usually goes, the French weren't exactly asking. First, they established a capital at Mobile, Alabama, then moved to Biloxi, Mississippi, and then eventually settled in New Orleans. Because the other places...
All of those places.
Yeah, I have. I've been to none of those places.
Really? I've been to all of them, you've been to none of them. Ow!
I briefly lived in Louisiana and have never been to any of them.
Wow.
So Bienville tricked free Frenchmen from all around into coming to Louisiana by making them believe that the Gulf wasn't Satan's taint in the summer. You know, I volunteered to read to give you a break. I'm just never going to do that again. So, once that ruse played out, Bienville requested male prisoners from France be released to populate his colony and work the land. We don't really hear enough about how, like Australia, the United States was also once a collection of penal colonies on top of being a slave state. So, since these hardy criminal and single Frenchmen had needs beyond the fields to pluck and making a buck, they went out looking for women to fraternize with. I hate you, Leo. I hate you so much. You're a freaking genius, though. And I hate that I just said that. They went chasing native women for little rendezvous, but eventually the native men and the French class system frowned upon this. France wanted to gain and keep a foothold in America, and they knew they needed to grow the economy and raise families. For that, they needed French women. So they thought tricking men into coming to Louisiana worked. Why won't it work on French women? So the requirements.
We're just going to keep tricking people.
Yes. And so the requirements for these women were you had to be a good Catholic because Protestants were
that's right.
heretics.
Catholics and Protestants don't like each other, do they?
Yes. And 2, you had to be between 12 and 24 years old.
Just gonna pretend that didn't happen.
Are you saging the episode? Is that something new that we should probably start with every episode?
Yeah! Like, whatever we're about to read you, we don't condone this. We're real mad about it.
So for a myriad of reasons, these women also didn't like the place, and eventually being told to come and having to fake it got old. So France rounded up the women in their jails for being criminal or having mental health issues, and the poor women living on the streets, who were certainly not all sex workers, but were still believed to be, and gave them a one-way ticket to Louisiana. In order to prepare these women for a life of marriage/servitude, Ursuline nuns were sent to Louisiana as well to be teachers. They opened a convent in the early 1700s on Charter Street, and they eventually opened the first school for girls, the first hospital, and first orphanage in New Orleans.
Oh, well, those are all good things. Those are good things.
A little bit of good came from this.
Yeah. Nuns aren't bad people, right? Like, they're... You always hear about the priests, not the nuns, right? No.
I don't know enough about nuns.
I don't either.
So.
Boy. I need it to stop getting worse.
So France started exporting women on a ship called the Pelican. Taking the ship across the Atlantic to the Gulf of Mexico usually took about 3 months.
I said I needed to stop getting worse.
Well, let's just see if it gets better, okay? I can't make any promises.
The next sentence was exporting women.
I really want...
My head shape keeps changing.
Well, at least I can not see inside of it, so that's good.
That's true.
I'll take it. So the number of women per shipment wasn't a lot, but still there wasn't a lot of personal space in their below-deck quarters, and usually not enough provisions to go around. Some women came down with illness, and some women didn't survive the journey. This was the case for the boatload that showed up in 1728, except they were even worse off because their passage had taken 5 months this time, instead of 3.
And I'm sure they probably had planned for 3 months and not an extra 2.
Yes. So being stowed away for that much longer meant the women who came ashore were more pale and gaunt than usual. Though they weren't aware of it, tuberculosis was unfortunately shared amongst them on their voyage, and some were seen with blood that was coating and caked on their lips. The French government had given them clothes and a few belongings to get by with until they got on their feet. These belongings were stuffed into large chests. The men who met them at the dock to carry their chests were instructed to make sure they remained locked tight. So, due to being on a boat for 5 months, their pale skin reddened and blistered in no time under the hot sun. They were all moved into the 3rd floor of the convent dorm where they arrived. They were to be under the care of the Ursuline nuns until they were married, but something about these particular women made people uneasy. The nuns were hardly a match for the rebellious nature of these women, so they decided to fight back. They were mad. I'd be mad too.
Good. The French are good at rebellion, right? And these women are French. Right? They know how to do shit. Okay.
So some are put into unwanted marriages that turned into abusive relationships. So instead, they decided to try making it on their own, which usually meant turning to sex work. Townsfolk noticed that they usually only saw the women from this group out at night. They lurked in the alleys of the French Quarter until dawn. After weeks of being there, maybe that explained why some of them were still so light-skinned, but why did they still look so emaciated?
TB? The tuberculosis,
maybe?
Didn't they used to call that, like, the wasting disease? Is that the same?
Well, wasting disease and consumption, because it would just kind of...
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. He said TB was being passed around the ship.
Death was relentless in the early days of New Orleans with the rampant spread of yellow fever and malaria, not to mention stumbling on the wrong critter in the swamp. Even so, the death toll seemed to rise significantly after these women stepped off the Pelican. Many of the townsfolk turned sickly and pale themselves, and lots of bodies turned up looking drained with blood at the corners of their mouth. Sounds like tuberculosis. Undertakers burned many of the bodies in case of an unknown plague, and soon they were going out every night looking for the dead. It happened one night that an undertaker and their horse were on their way home in the wee hours after scouring the French Quarter, with no bodies in the wagon for the first time in a few nights. The lack of music, laughter, and shouting told them everyone had long since gone to bed. They trotted through the intersection of St. Anne and Royal Street when out of the corner of their eye they caught movement in the alleyway, and naturally they turned to look. Light from the half moon barely revealed someone crouched over and turned away from the undertaker. Shadows covered everything else in the narrow alley. The person looked like a woman, judging by the long hair and what seemed like a nightgown. It was at that moment that the woman's face suddenly turned up at the undertaker with a trail of crimson oozing from her mouth. Only then did they notice the body the woman was crouched over and the blood-soaked front of her gown. They snapped the reins and the horse and the undertaker sped off into the night. That sounds like a vampire to me.
Well, yeah. Oh. Ooh. Okay.
So, the townsfolk now whispered to each other about what those large chests were really for. They looked big enough to fit a body in. And since people started dying in droves, they noticed that the shutters on the third story of the dorm were now nailed shut. Word was that the nails they used were blessed by the Pope. Were they keeping things out, or were they keeping the evil locked in? Before that, there were rumors of women flying from the window ledges at night and leaving trails of blood trickling down the walls when they came back. And thus the lore of the Casket girls and vampirism in New Orleans was born. So today, the convent is a museum and part of the Heritage Center at the Archdiocese of New Orleans. It's the oldest building still standing, not only in New Orleans, but in the Mississippi Valley. The third story shutters are still nailed down, and the floor is sealed off to the public. It's said that after Hurricane Katrina did damage to the building and the shutters, someone from the Vatican was flown out immediately to make sure that they were still sealed shut. Locals believe that you shouldn't walk past the dorm between midnight and 6 a.m. A journalist was granted access to the third floor in the 2010s and was surprised to find it completely empty. She thought it would at least be used for storage since space is hard to come by in the French Quarter, and building basements isn't an option due to constant risk of flooding in New Orleans. New Orleans, parts of it are under sea level.
Yeah.
She also saw chains with clasps hanging from some of the walls. The dorm rooms all had Dutch doors, the two halves.
Okay.
As if the nuns wanted a barrier between them and the occupants. And one room with brick flooring looked as if things had been moved recently on that floor, leaving evidence of narrow pieces of heavy furniture just large enough to fit a body.
I want to know what they know.
Yeah.
Like,
Are there
why would
vampires in New Orleans?
Absolutely. 100%.
Can we pause this again real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, so I want vampires. I like vampires.
Fucking same. And like, why would it be so important that the Vatican would fly somebody out to make sure that the floor is still sealed up? Like, that's expensive. And in the middle of a disaster? Like, what the fuck do they know? I want to know.
I know. Like, there are parts of me that are like, man, I wish I had been born Catholic so I could have worked my way up the Catholic and then gone to the Vatican and been like, tell me all the secrets.
Right? Like, let me in the archives. Let me in that underground 3-mile long library. Let me.
But see, now I just feel like I need to be a vampire to go to the Vatican and have somebody tell me all the secrets.
Oh, that's true. That's true. If you were a vampire, you could do all kinds of
whatever I wanted at night. Not so much during the day.
You just sleep during the day. No more sunburns.
So yeah, there you go. I had no idea where that was going. It started off really weird and it ended with vampires.
And I feel like we're not done. Isn't there like a part 2 for next week?
There's a part 2, but that looks like something completely different, and I don't want to read too far ahead to figure out what it is.
Okay. So, yeah, vampires in New Orleans.
In the 1700s. I love it.
100% though. Yeah. I have no trouble believing that at all. My hair.
Oh, there's no other explanation for what that was.
It
started off as tuberculosis and then evolved into vampirism.
Right. Yep. Why were they called the Pelican Girls though?
Because they came over on the Pelican boat. The boat was called Pelican.
Okay.
But why did I need to know why that trip took 5 months instead of 3.
Right. They didn't say
Was the
anything
weather
about
bad?
like, right?
Yeah, Leo.
2 whole months is a big deal. You have any Halloween stuff planned for the weekend?
No. I like Halloween. It didn't sneak up on me, but all of a sudden it's like, shit, the Halloween.
Yeah. But you said that you ordered the girls' costumes.
I ordered the girls' costumes today, and so they'll be here Thursday. Our first Halloween party. We have a Halloween party on Friday.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I don't know when the neighborhood we trick or treat in is going trick or treating yet, so I got to figure that out. Like, while I appreciate Halloween on the 31st, can we just move it to the last Saturday? Just for trick or treating purposes,
right? For all of the festivity purposes, yeah.
Friends of mine are going to a Halloween party. And it was spooky, I don't know, spooky states or something. So you had to pick something that a state was known for and make it spooky.
Okay.
And theirs is really cool. I don't know if I should, this is coming out before their party, so I don't know if I should.
People will,
I'm not even sure they listen to this, but still.
Don't want to give it away just in case.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a wrap for this week. I think that's what we have.
That's it, man. You know what? For a spooky podcast, we have nothing. We're yeah, that's it. Bye.
Yep. Okay, we're done. See you later. This has been the Morning Report.
The Morning